guys, Cassie here. Welcome back to my channel. Just a quick disclaimer for this video. I am doing a critical reading of the book P.S. I Love You by Jenny Han. And if this is like your favorite book in the world and you just can't stand to see anybody say anything negative about it, then maybe this isn't the video series for you. I will be doing a critical reading of this book, critiquing the things I don't like and pointing out some of the things that I do like. But I want to remind you all that this is not for the sake of just crapping all over someone's work and making fun of it and just having fun laughing at someone for being a bad writer. This is primarily for educational reasons. I am an author and I have watched videos like this myself, and I feel that I learn so much from hearing what people don't like about a book and even like the little details. So I might be getting a little bit critical here and picking on the tiny things, but that's because I think that that helps us all to become better writers and see what not to do, what sounds a little bit off, and how to do it better. So now that that disclaimer is out of the way, let's get back to the reading. Alright, Sunday evening and time to dig in to more of this book. We are on chapter 4, so let's get into it. So this is another thing that I noticed before when I was reading the first book is I feel like some of the like word choices or the way like certain characters say things sometimes just sounds a little unnatural, like it's not how you would normally say something like that. Like so Lara Jean and Kitty are watching TV and Peter texts Lara Jean to ask if she wants to go to a movie, and she texts him back, and Kitty says, "Who are you texting with?" And then Lara Jean says, "I was texting with Peter." And that's just like a weird way to say that. No? I mean, like, wouldn't you say I was texting Peter, not I was texting with Peter? And don't people usually say who are you texting, not who are you texting with? Like, it just sounds odd. And I mean, obviously that was like a really petty and unimportant detail to pick on, but it's just something that I've noticed like a few times in this book and the other book. Just these little like things that people say that just don't really sound very natural. So we've got some wise words from the younger sister here. She asks Lara Jean if Peter is her boyfriend again, and she says she's not sure. And Kitty says, "What do you mean you're not sure? Shouldn't you know if you're someone's girlfriend or not?" And Lara Jean says, "We haven't discussed it yet. I mean, not explicitly." And then Kitty says, "You should look into that." I agree, Kitty. She should look into that. So here we have some more telling instead of showing. She's talking about, you know, she's like worrying over whether or not they're boyfriend or girlfriend or whether or not that even matters. And she says, "In the car last night, Peter didn't seem troubled by the status of our relationship. He seemed happy and carefree as always. I'm definitely a person who worries too much over every little thing. I could do with a bit more of Peter's roll with it philosophy in life." Saying I'm definitely a person who worries too much over every little thing, like, we totally get that by this point after reading a book and a, you know, eighth of this character. I know she worries too much over every little thing, so it's, I mean, they did a good, Jenny Han did a good job of showing that, I guess, as well, because I do already know that about this character, but it doesn't really need to be explicitly stated. So she's getting ready to go to the movies with Peter, and she says that this will be their first actual date, which I just found kind of funny because she's like so unsure if they're even boyfriend or girlfriend yet because they haven't explicitly stated it, because she like so needs it to be explicitly stated. But yet he sends her a text that says "movie tonight?" and she doesn't need that to be explicitly stated. She knows that that is a date, which to me doesn't even necessarily, even if you are boyfriend or girlfriend, "movie tonight?" doesn't even necessarily mean date, in my opinion. Like, even if you were dating, that could mean like, I'm going to a movie with some friends, do you want to come, or something. So I don't know, I just thought that was kind of funny. That she's so sure that this is their first date, but she's not sure if they're dating yet. So these books tend to have fairly short chapters, and I have heard the advice before that you should make sure that every chapter has like a purpose and it contributes to the overall plot in some way. And personally, I don't necessarily think that that is always necessary. I do think, you know, you can have some chapters that are just like sort of character development, but nothing like plot related really happens. But I will say that I feel like Jenny Han could use to maybe think about that advice a little bit more, and this is definitely something I felt in the first book as well, that a lot of the chapters, it's just like nothing happened in that chapter. Absolutely nothing. Like, this entire chapter, I mean, granted, it was only 3.25 pages, but the whole chapter is just Lara Jean and Kitty are watching TV, and Peter texts Lara Jean and asks if she wants to see a movie, and then like she goes and picks out an outfit for the movie, and that's like literally it. And that all could have just been like, that could have been 2 sentences at the beginning of a chapter, like, Peter invited me to a movie, and now we're at the movie. Like, we don't even really need to know what she's wearing, but you could describe what she's wearing if you wanted. But still, all of that could have been like at most 1 paragraph, and instead it was like an entire chapter, several pages, and it just seemed really pointless to me. So I feel like another common complaint of mine throughout these books is a lot of things just feel flat, and I think it really, honestly, I think comes down to the telling and not enough showing. Like, they're on their first date, and she's talking about being like kind of nervous, and how it's sort of silly that she's nervous because like she's been on plenty of dates with this guy, but they were all fake before, and this one's different because it's real. But for some reason, like, none of those lines about like what I just said are like hitting me emotionally at all, and I think it might just be because it's so telly. I don't know, I can't quite pinpoint what it is, and it might just, I mean, some of it might be that I'm a little cynical about this book, but I'm not even really, like, I know I'm critiquing it a lot, but I'm not that cynical. I'm not really that snobbish about stories. Like, I'm enjoying this. It's not like torture to read. It's fun. It's cute that they're on their first date, but it's just like, it's just that. It's just mildly cute. It's not like making me all giddy and like, oh, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And I just feel like the emotion of it is, it always, throughout the first book as well, just all those big emotionally impactful moments kind of fell flat for me, and I think it's just too much telling, honestly, is most of it. And also maybe like timing, like pacing, I guess, maybe because there are so many parts of the story, like the previous chapter, where it's just like a whole chapter of her picking out an outfit and getting ready, and it's like, okay, I don't need to read all of this. And then the parts that you actually want to like slow down in, like the first date feelings and stuff, are kind of rushed, I guess. Okay, this might be kind of an example of what I was just saying. Like, okay, so they're ordering food before the movie, and he kind of like puts his arm around her and accidentally hits her in the boob, and it just says ow, like Lara Jean says ow, and then he laughs an embarrassed laugh. Whoops, sorry, are you okay? I give him a hard elbow to the side, and he's still laughing as we walk into the theater. And that was a moment that maybe we could have gotten some kind of like, what did she feel about that? Like, this guy kind of accidentally touched her boob. Like, was she blushing? Did she feel like like, it said he laughed an embarrassed laugh, but we didn't get to see anything about how she feels, which might partially be what contributes to me feeling like Lara Jean as a character is kind of flat, and I don't feel like I really know her very well, because a lot of times I feel like those moments where I would like want to know how she feels about what just happened, like, we just don't get to see it. And I don't know, like, that was kind of a funny little faux pas that happened, and it's like, instead of getting more of her thoughts in that moment, we got a whole chapter about what she was gonna wear to the movie. Here's another example of her using, like, kind of a simile or an example that just, it doesn't need to be there, and it feels weird to me. They get to the theater and they see Peter's ex girlfriend, and she's just describing how, like, her being there kind of, like, dampens the mood. Dampens? Is that the word? I don't know. Sometimes my vocabulary just leaves my brain. Anyway, it says, her presence has punctured the night. 2 vampire bite marks right into it. And, like, again, that's like, if that was the one time she said something like that, I might not have noticed, but it's just, like, all the time she says stuff like that. That's just a little bit weird. Like, you can just say that her presence, like, that it felt weird that she was there. Like, to compare it to a vampire bite mark, it's just a stretch. It kind of, like, takes me out of the story to have to, like, think, like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know. I don't care for it. Okay, so we're getting some explanation here of why Lara Jean likes Peter. They're talking about their relationship and stuff, and he's just being kind of chill about things. And she says, I like that he doesn't take things too seriously. In other people that could be annoying, but not him. It's one of his best qualities, I think. And I think that might be why I don't like Peter. Because I agree that in other people that could be annoying, but I don't agree that it's not annoying in him. I feel like there are characters out there who exist who are kind of, like, easygoing about things, and it's like a refreshing quality in a person that they, like, don't take life too seriously. And then there are characters who just seem like they just don't really care that much about things because they're not very deep people. And those are different. And I feel like maybe we're supposed to feel like Peter is in the former category, but I feel like he's in the latter category. I feel like he is just kind of, like, not super deep and not super mature, and so he just doesn't take things too seriously because he just doesn't really care all that much about them. Like, that's the vibe I get personally, and I don't know if that's the vibe I'm supposed to get. So I don't know if I'm just reading it wrong. Maybe other people don't get that feeling, but I think I kind of understand why I don't really get why she likes him, because she likes him because he doesn't take things too seriously, and that's, like, a reason why I think he's not that great. But then she also goes on to say, that's one of his best qualities, I think. That and his face. I could stare at his face all day long. So, yeah, those are great solid reasons to want to be in a relationship with someone. Which is pretty much what I've said from the beginning is why she likes him. And, I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with liking someone because they're cute and fun. But it just doesn't make a super interesting relationship to read about, in my opinion, in fiction. Like, it's not like, there are plenty of people in real life who have those relationships and they're good, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we're talking about a manufactured relationship that was written, and it's like, why would you choose to write a relationship that's so, in my opinion, boring and bland because they don't have much going for them, and it's just not very interesting to read. Alright, I was gonna do another chapter, but I looked at the clock and realized it's getting kind of late, and the next chapter is actually surprisingly longer, so we're gonna hold off on that, and I will get back to it sometime tomorrow. So I will see you then. Hello, it is Monday afternoon, not the morning as you can tell because I am very awake, and it's time to read some more of this here book. So let's get into it, shall we? We shall. So there's a little bit more here about Lara Jean's thoughts about Peter, and like, I feel like so many of her thoughts about Peter are so just, I don't know if it's just that she's really insecure or that their relationship isn't the healthiest, but it just isn't very pleasant to read. Like, okay, so like they're talking about, she and her little sister are talking about their dog, and she says something about that there's nothing like talented or quirky about him, meaning their dog, and then she says, as soon as I say the word quirky, I think of Peter and how he once said I was cute in a quirky way. I wonder if that's still how he sees me. I've heard people say that the more you like someone, the more you think they are beautiful, even if you didn't think so in the beginning. So clearly she's like worrying right now that her boyfriend doesn't actually think she's beautiful, and like that's kind of sad. And I mean, I get that that's a thing that people worry about sometimes, but I feel like it's a valid worry here. Like, I don't feel like it's just her being too insecure. I feel like it's that Peter like hasn't really done much to make her feel beautiful and loved by him, and that's just not. Oh my gosh, my hair is like so knotted up right now. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Anyway, that's just like not very nice to read, I guess, to me. Like, it just doesn't make me super excited about this relationship when she's having so many feelings like this. Okay, so here's an example of something not to do or something that could have been done better. It's not a huge critique. I honestly didn't feel like this was bad, but I guess is kind of a learning opportunity. So Lara Jean is watching videos on her computer with her little sister, and her friend Chris texts her a message that says, check Anani bitch's Instagram now. And then there's a paragraph explaining that Anani Bitch is an anonymous Instagram account that puts up scandalous pictures and photos of people hooking up and getting drunk at parties around town. No one knows who runs the account. They just send in the content. There was a picture of a girl from another high school that went viral last year. She was flashing a cop car. I heard she got expelled for school from it. So that might have been better if maybe she just introduced this whole like Instagram page thing previously, which I guess would have been somewhat difficult to do in this book because there hasn't really been an opportunity that I can think of as far as like her hanging out with her friend or I don't know where she would have squeezed that in that it didn't feel forced, but it might be better if you're going to write something like this to just maybe have them looking at that page previously instead of introducing it now as like an interesting plot point. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm assuming something crazy went down on this Instagram page that's gonna be like important, and it might have been better if we had just previously seen maybe Lara Jean looking at this Instagram page and talking about like these anonymous pictures and stuff before this very moment. It's just a little tip. It's not really that big of a deal to introduce something like this, but it could have maybe been a little bit better had she introduced it sooner so that we already kind of know what this thing is. Oh, there's another simile, which we all know is my favorite thing to critique in her books. She's talking about seeing a video of this girl and boy making out in a hot tub, which is obviously her and Peter. Like, I don't know why it's taken her this long to figure it out. I realized that immediately. But anyway, she's describing the girl, and she says her hair is long and the ends dip into the hot tub like calligraphy brushes in ink. That's just weird and unnecessary to me. We know what it looks like when hair dips into water. Like, to describe it as like calligraphy brushes dipping in ink, it's just, like, it just is unnecessarily, like, a fancy, weird way of saying it to me. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of similes, I guess. Okay, there's instantly another simile right after that. So it says, her hair is long and the ends dip into the hot tub like calligraphy brushes in ink. The boy runs his hands down her spine like she is a cello and he is playing her. I don't know. Is it just me? I feel like these statements are weird and they just feel out of place, and I would rather she just say her hair is long and the ends dip into the hot tub and the boy runs his hands down her spine. Like, I feel like I wish she'd just say that instead of comparing it to weird other things. I just don't like it. Let me know in the comments. Do you think these, like, comparisons are strange? Do they add anything to you? Because to me it just feels weird. It doesn't feel like better writing or more descriptive or something. It just feels like unnecessary. Oh my gosh, why is she so dumb? She took like 2 paragraphs of reading this. Like, I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you, but it would be more impactful if you read it and realized like how much description she's going into of this video of these people making out in a hot tub, all their movements, like what the back of the girl's head looks like, the nightgown she's wearing, and they're watching it, and her little sister says, are they doing it? And she said it's hard to tell because of her nightgown, but maybe. And like, she still doesn't realize that this is a video of her and Peter. How can you not realize that? This just happened, I don't remember how long ago at this point, but not very long ago. And it's your nightgown you're looking at. This was like probably one of the most like exciting sort of moments of your life recently, making out in a hot tub for the this was like the first time they, like, I think it was like the first time they kissed as actually them and not like for their fake relationship. And she vividly would remember this moment, and I don't understand why it took her that long to realize that it's her. It makes no sense. She would instantly know that that was her. It doesn't matter how grainy the video is. She would totally know. Oh my gosh. Okay, so not only is she watching this whole video of herself in this epic moment that she like totally would vividly remember, and it takes her quite a while to realize that it's her. Not only that, but there is a caption to the video that says, Goody Two-Shoes Lara Jean having full-on sex with Kavinsky in the hot tub. Like, it says it right there that it's you. Why would you not have looked at the caption? Especially on Instagram. I don't think you can even click on videos and have it like take up the whole screen to where you can't see the caption anymore. Like, it's right there. How would you not, while you're trying to like figure out who these people are, why would you not glance down at the caption that's right in front of your face? It doesn't make any sense. So, okay, I guess I get how like this could be bad. The whole, like, there's a video of her and Peter making out in a hot tub, and it kind of looks like they might be having sex, and it's online now. But the thing is, like, they're dating and they're friends with a bunch of people who have presumably had sex. They're not like kids. People have sex, and I don't know that I see quite what the huge deal is about this video existing. It's not like someone took a video of her doing something really embarrassing or gross or something. Like, she's just making out with her boyfriend in a hot tub. Like, isn't that kind of something people would think is cool? Or like don't people kind of brag about situations like that? Like, that's kind of a sexy, exciting thing to happen, to make out with someone in a hot tub. So like, I don't see what the big deal is. I guess I do, like, I understand she doesn't want people to think that they were having sex, because they weren't, and she is a virgin, so I can definitely relate to that as someone who didn't have sex until after marriage, and I definitely projected that I was not planning to have sex until after marriage. So if a video like that of me came out and people were speculating, then I would be upset. But Lara Jean, as far as I know, is not, I mean, they were just talking recently, she and Margot, about sex and stuff, like as if she and Peter might have sex at some point soon. So it's not like she's, like, it's not like they, I mean, I guess if it was a public place, then that is illegal to have sex in public, but it just doesn't strike me as big of a deal as they're making it out to be. Like, these rumors that they had sex in a hot tub, I feel like that's something that teenagers would be like, oh, that's cool, good job. Like, it's not like, oh, you're such a loser, you had sex with the hottest guy in school in a hot tub. Like, what? So lame. Okay, I guess I kind of get it now. She's describing how, like, because she is, like, kind of a goody-goody, I'm not saying that in a judgmental way. I've been a goody-goody my whole life. Me and Lara Jean were like this, okay? We're on the same page here. But she's talking about how, like, even though she's not naked in the video and they're not actually having sex, like, it feels like she's naked in the video, and that, like, that was supposed to be a private moment, and now it feels like gross, and it was like a romantic moment, and now it doesn't feel that way anymore. I guess I get that, but I don't know. I still don't, it's hard for me to imagine, but I don't know that I would, I don't know, I guess I would be upset if people were thinking that I had sex when I didn't. But it's different because I am a Christian and I, like, was saving myself for marriage, so that's something that is important to me. But Lara Jean is not in that position. Like, she's not, like, just doing it with whoever or something, but she and Peter were, as far as, like, everyone else's perspective, they had been dating for a while. It's not like she was just making out with some random guy or something. Like, so I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like, I guess I get why it would be uncomfortable for that moment to be, like, to know that someone recorded you and that it wasn't private and now it's out there. I can see how that would be a little uncomfortable, but I think it's not as big of a deal as they're making it out to be, in my opinion. Okay, so that was the end of chapter 6. Basically, all that happened was that they found the video on Instagram and Lara Jean's really upset, and Peter kind of is like, it's not that big of a deal, but, like, he sort of understands why she's upset but sort of doesn't. I do get why she would be upset. I think I can see why it would be embarrassing having your, like, intimate moments posted publicly without your, consent. I don't think that would be, I think I would be bothered by that for sure. But I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to judge because I haven't really been in a situation like this at all, but I don't know that it's really true that everybody would be like calling her a slut because of this and like looking at her negatively. I feel like there are more people who would just be like jealous or something, that or think that, I don't know, it's hard because I just don't run in those circles at all. I went to a very, very small public charter high school that was not like this at all. And before that I was homeschooled my whole life. So I don't really know how it works. And I do know that there is like kind of a stereotype stigma, like, which was described by Margot in this chapter, that like oftentimes when boys do things like this, they're labeled as cool, but then girls are labeled as sluts. And I think that's true that that does happen, but I just don't know that it would be true that like everybody would be just thinking she's terrible now because she made out with a guy, her boyfriend, in a hot tub. It's not like I said, it's not like she just made out with some random guy or something. She made out with her boyfriend in a hot tub. That doesn't make you a slut. And I just don't know if it's true that something that tame would be blown out of proportion to this extent. But I do see how that could be upsetting if you were not, if you are more kind of sheltered like Clara Jean is, and she hasn't like done a lot of things like that, so this is kind of like her first experience like this. I get it, but at the same time, I don't know how realistic it is. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to the next chapter now. So it's the next day and she's getting ready for school, and she said, Chris said I should lean into it, which would mean a look at me kind of outfit. Margot said I should be above it all, which means something mature like a pencil skirt or maybe my green corduroy blazer. But my instinct is to blend, blend, blend. Big sweater that's more like a blanket, leggings, Margot's brown boots. If I could wear a baseball cap to school, I would, but no hats allowed. I just, like, I don't see how it's that big of a deal. And the whole, like, lean into it, I kind of agree with Chris in that, like, you shouldn't deny that or, like, act like it's that big of a deal. Like, you should just be like, yeah, I made out with my boyfriend in a hot tub. Why, like, what's the big deal? But that doesn't mean you should now start dressing totally differently and, like, act like wear some look at me outfit. Like, just be yourself like you always have been. You're just a girl who made out with her boyfriend. It's not a big deal. Like, every girl in high school who has a boyfriend has made out with them probably at some point. So I don't see how it's this big of a thing. Oh my gosh, some of these characters are acting like they had a video of her, like, drunk or high, doing a striptease on a table or something. I mean, the high school English guidance counselor stops her in the hall and says, "You're such a bright, talented girl. You're not the type of girl to get caught up in these sort of things. I'd hate to see you go down a wrong path." Like, dude, she just made out with her boyfriend, like, one time in a video. Literally one time. That was like the first time they'd ever made out. What? That is not a big deal. And then later she says, "Now's the time to buckle down and get serious about your future, not high school drama. Don't give colleges a reason to turn you down, okay?" Yeah, because a college is going to turn down a student because there was a video of her making out with her boyfriend. Like, I don't get it. I don't believe that this would be the reaction to this kind of thing happening. Like, I do believe that there would be plenty of people, mostly plenty of girls probably, or even guys also, like, calling her a slut or whatever, making speculations about them having sex. But colleges are not going to turn someone down because there's one video of them on the internet making out with their boyfriend, fully clothed. Literally, like, she's actually wearing clothes in a hot tub, which is, like, more clothes than you would even normally be wearing in a hot tub. So, I just don't see how this is as big of a deal as this. And then she says, okay, then after that she says, Lara Jane nods and she says, good girl, I know you're better than that. Like, what? Better than what? Which is kind of what Lara Jane says. She said, the words echo in my ears, better than that. Better than what? Than who? My question exactly, Lara Jean. Better than what? Any other teenage girl who makes out with their boyfriend? Everybody who has a boyfriend makes out with them sometimes. Like, that's just a fact. She's a teenage girl with a boyfriend. That's obviously happening, right? I mean, this is not a big deal at all. I just don't get it. Alright, so... Oh, hang on. I sat up and now the camera's not at the right spot. Alright, so Lara Jean just found out that Genevieve is the one who gave the video to the Instagram page, which obviously we assumed was the case. And she is very sure that Peter, once he finds out, will never look at Jen the same way and will, like, hate her. And I don't think that that's what's gonna happen. I think Peter is going to defend her and not really care as much as Lara Jean wants him to. So let's see if my prediction is correct, shall we? Alright, so she just got in the car with Peter, and kind of as I predicted, he doesn't seem convinced that Jen really did it, and, like, he wanted to know, like, what were her exact words? Did she really admit to doing it? And Lara Jean admitted that she didn't come out and fully say that she did it, but that she was obviously lying, and he kind of seems like he doesn't quite believe her. And then there's also some more of this whole thing where she asks Peter if any of the teachers said anything to him about the video, and he said, no, why? Has anyone said anything to you? And she said, this is what Margot was talking about, this double standard. Boys will be boys, but girls are supposed to be careful of our bodies, of our future, of the ways people judge us. I agree that that is sometimes true, but I think in this situation, this is being blown out of proportion in a way that's not entirely realistic. Because I don't think that a guidance counselor, for making out with her boyfriend, I don't think a guidance counselor would be saying, like, you need to buckle down and be concerned about your future and don't do anything to let colleges, you know, not want to accept you or whatever. I just don't think that this is that big of a deal. Even if they had had sex, I mean, high school students have sex sometimes. That's like a thing that happens. I don't think anyone in colleges is looking into whether or not their students have had sex before. Like, that's just not a thing. Like I said, if she was, like, drunk or something, or doing something really lewd or inappropriate, then yeah, then I think they would be talking to her. But in that case, I think that people would, I do think there is a double standard, and I do think people would be talking to their girls more, but I don't think guys are completely off the hook either when they do things that are inappropriate. I mean, if there was some video out there of a guy, like, getting drunk and doing something stupid, I'm pretty sure his parents or guidance counselor even would also be telling him, hey, you might want to be careful because colleges might not look favorably upon you if they see this kind of stuff. It's not, I don't think that this whole double standard is quite as bad as what this is, the way this is being portrayed in this book. But again, I mean, it's possible that I just don't quite know. I am a little bit more sheltered than your average person in areas like this, so I don't know. I know there are many people who would disagree with me on everything I just said, but I don't think that it's as bad as they're making it out to be. Okay, I have to say, I do really like the character of Margot a lot better in this book. She's giving a lot of wisdom, like when she asks Lara Jean what Peter said when she told him that Genevieve was the one who took the video, she said he believed you, right? And Lara Jean said, not exactly. I mean, he says he's going to talk to her and get down to the bottom of it. And Margot frowns and says he should have your back no matter what. And I agree, Margot. I think he should have her back no matter what. I mean, I get that you, like, I don't really agree with the whole mindset of just believing everybody. Like, sometimes people are wrong, and maybe Lara Jean could be wrong because Genevieve didn't specifically say that it was her who put the video up, and it could be that she's just reading into things too much. But, I mean, it's very unlikely, and I think Peter at least should be a little bit more, I don't know, he didn't really even seem neutral about it. He seemed like he didn't believe her. Like he didn't think that Genevieve would be capable of that or something like that. And that's clearly not the case. And I know, like, that is a thing that happens a lot in, like, movies and shows and stuff, and it's somewhat based on reality that boys don't always understand the way girls operate as far as their, like, jealousy and cliques and the way that they attack each other in subtle ways that other girls can see and can tell, like, that girl is not being genuine right now, and boys are like, what makes you say that? She seems really nice. That happens a lot in books, but it's not very nice to see. Like, that's not a characteristic I like to see in my main protagonist's love interest. So hopefully that's, like, an area where Peter is going to grow, because I kind of agree with Margot at this point in being a little bit like, maybe he's not, like, the best choice. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm too hard on Peter, but he's not my favorite. So that was the end of chapter 7. Chapter 7 was basically her going to school and people judging her, and Peter did get the video taken down. So that's one, like, prop for Peter. But yeah, that was pretty much the whole chapter 7. So I think I'm gonna read, yeah, I'm definitely gonna read chapter 8 because it's pretty short. I might even read chapter 9 because that one's really short. So let's keep it going. Psych, just kidding. We're gonna stop right there because this video is getting insanely long. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on the book so far. And if you want to see more from the continuation of this series next week, subscribe to my channel. That's it for this week. I'll see you guys next time and have a great day. Bye!